All righty. So let's talk a little bit about what potentially could be your first track day coming up. Mark and I are going to try to entertain everybody here tonight. Our goal here is to not entirely become a sales pitch, but just to talk to you about what your first track day may look like. Whether it's with us or another club, it's likely going to look something like what we're talking about today. We want to take some of that mystique and maybe fear out of it so that you feel like you have an idea of what your first track day is going to look like, what to expect, and what to expect if you decide to join us at track day. So we'll try to keep the sales pitchness of it to an absolute minimum. Our real goal here is to really try to help people understand the benefits of going to the track and what it's going to look like. Because if you've never been before, it can be intimidating, and we're definitely aware of that. At the end of this slide deck we have, there'll be some Q&A time. So if you have any questions, please write them down. We'd love to answer them. Mark and I absolutely love questions. Please feel free to bring us your questions. So without too much more, let's jump in and talk about some of the benefits of going to a track school. The first one is, as it turns out, driving cars fast is a ton of fun. I'm guessing most of you agree with me if you tap interested in this upcoming track event. If not, we're excited to show you just how much fun it can be. We have, as a program, over 30 years of experience teaching people how to drive fast and how to have fun while doing it. And there's few places better to drive a car fast than the racetrack. No risks of getting tickets, no risks of, hitting another car or getting into an accident with somebody on the street who isn't racing or isn't on a racetrack. And so it's a great place to go and learn your skills and see what it's all about to actually go fast. You become a better driver by being on the racetrack, by coming out to us and doing a track day or a track school. You will become a better driver. We spend a lot of time talking about technique, safety, car dynamics, and all these things really do go a long way into making you a better, stronger, more aware driver. We see it countless times when people come back and talk to us and tell us how what we've taught them has, prevented an accident for them, or, prevented, them from getting into something, really out of control in an accident type situation. Great way to understand the limits of your vehicle. There's not a great way to learn the limits of your vehicle on the street. There's none that I can think of that's safe. The track, great opportunity to do so. Even better when you have somebody sitting in your passenger seat who already knows the limits and knows how to teach the limits. And so we're not just going to throw you out there and be like, hey, go figure it out. No, we've got trained professionals who know how to instruct, who know how to teach these techniques and how to teach teach in a way that brings you to the limits of your vehicle and your own abilities in a safe and controlled environment. These foundational skills you learn at a driving school like ours, we consider our program a high-performance driving school rather than an event, primarily because we teach a lot of these fundamental topics and techniques. And these topics and techniques can apply to other track days where you may not necessarily be provided an instructor. So if you go to another club that does not provide instruction, GGC has a really strong instruction program that really focuses on building that foundation up, so that when you do get into a track day where you do not have an instructor, you are able to fall back on that foundation and still, thrive and grow and learn in that environment. And then one little bonus here too is if you decide to attend a car control clinic or autocross, which we have both of which coming up in September, on September 10th and 11th, you'll get $50 off the HPDS weekend if you sign up for both days. And so if you're interested in that, please let us know at the end of this webinar and I can walk you through what that looks like. But the CCC program is a great way to catapult yourself into being ready for the HPDS program. All righty, let's talk about some prerequisites. First-time students are our bread and butter. We're really good with first-time students. I think we call it our D program, which is our beginner novice program. I think it's one of the best out there. Our instructors are absolutely fantastic at working with people who have had very little experience on the track or with driving in general. They're very patient. They understand all of the dynamics you're going to be working with that day with the vehicle. They're going to be able to walk you through everything from the very first part of the morning all the way to the end of the day, all the way to the end of the weekend. You'll develop a relationship with these instructors, and they'll become friends. Even I'm still friends with many of my very first instructors. Mark was one of my very first instructors many years ago. Some of the instructors you meet will be people that you will be friends with for the rest of your life. They are excellent teachers. Tim is in here. He's one of our excellent coaches. We have an incredible instructor corps who really specializes in people who are new. They may be fearful. They may not know what to expect. That is where we exceed for sure. We like to see people attend a car control clinic before coming out to the high performance driving schools, just because that gives you an extra layer of knowledge and experience before getting onto the racetrack. But we don't require it. We just recommend it. Our instructors know how to instruct with or without that background knowledge. Many of our HPDS instructors actually also instruct in our car control clinic program. And at our track school, our instructors are also really good at specializing the content that they teach you to your driving ability and to the areas you need improvement and to the areas you're excelling at. They know how to adapt their feedback and adapt what they're teaching to be best for what you're trying to accomplish as a driver. And for special requirements for your cars, we have everything out there, everything except for convertibles. We don't allow convertibles for safety reasons. If you have any questions about, is my car going to be allowed or not, feel free to email so we can chat with you about that. We're always happy to walk through that process and determine if a car is going to be available. But we allow just about everything. We have Mini Coopers out there. We've seen Teslas out there. I've seen Maseratis out there. You name it, we've seen it. I've seen a Honda Civic out there many times. Quite a fast driver, actually. So we allow just about everything. And our instructors are familiar with just about all these vehicles and will be able to instruct you and your vehicle. Other than making sure your vehicle is well maintained and can pass our technical inspection form, which goes to a qualified shop, that's all you have to do. Your car can be absolutely bone stock, no changes. It can be a 1987 325 IS that's got 80,000 miles on it, hasn't had a single mod done to it. We would love it. We will take what you have and work with you and the car to bring out the best version of the driver you can be. And in terms of safety equipment, we require Snell 2015 or newer helmets. They can be automotive or motorcycle helmets. So that's the SA or M rating of 2015. That is pretty much the gold standard that every club requires. Anything before 2015, so that's your 2010s, your 2005s, have all been deprecated now. They are no longer allowed at any events. So we ask that you get a Snell 2015 or newer helmet. If you're not sure where to buy a helmet or how, what that process looks like or how to even pick a helmet, once again, reach out to Mark or I, and we can walk you through that process. We can talk about some of the local shops that can help you and some of the considerations to take when buying a helmet. We are absolutely happy to chat about that anytime. And now I'm actually going to pass it off to Mark for the next couple sections.
Okay, so while we totally emphasize fun and education, those are critical parts of the program. Safety is first. That's our most important consideration in putting together the program, planning it, executing it. One of the key ingredients for a novice is that you will have an experienced instructor with you at all times. You're not just going out there on the track and trying to figure out where to go and how to drive. We've got instructors with you all the way through. And as Ryan mentioned, the instruction is individualized. They adapt to you. The other thing is that everybody else in your run group has instructors. You're matched with people of similar skills, and they also have instructors. So you're not going to have any sort of wild behavior going on out there, because the instructors in the other cars will make sure they behave themselves. So another key thing with racetracks, although we're not racing, the reason we use these facilities is it's much easier to maintain safety. A key ingredient is the corner workers. I know a lot of people like to do canyon runs. I used to live in Santa Cruz Mountains, and I would see people come around corners and get surprised by a rock slide, a car already sideways in a corner or whatever. We work our best to minimize those kind of surprises on the racetrack. Mistakes happen, but corner workers are there to let you know if somebody else sprayed dirt all over the track, or somebody else spun out, or somebody had a mechanical issue and has parked their car. So the corner workers are your eyes out there letting you know what's going on. In addition to that, there's safety crew to deal with disabled vehicles. We've got towing equipment. There's medical personnel on site. We also have our own staff people there marshaling critical areas of the facility to make sure cars don't, head out on track in a difficult situation. We keep control of speeds in the paddock, and this safety is a critical part of all of our decisions that we make around the events. So let's talk about the on-track instruction. There are two key elements here: the classroom and the on-track. I'll start with the on-track instruction. Again, there are run groups that are based on experience. As a novice, you will be running with other novices. You're not going to have speed demons doing it. You go out on ski slopes, you may be on a nice moderate slope and somebody decides, they're an Olympic level skier and they come flying through 60 miles per hour through your green slopes. And we don't have that kind of a situation. We maintain control over that. Again, you're always with an instructor. As a novice. As people move up, they'll start with an instructor, and then as you demonstrate the right kind of skills, we'll do a sign off, because sometimes it's nice to get out there in the car and just drive without somebody talking in your ear. But we make sure you're ready for that, and we make sure other people out on the track who are solo are ready for that as well. And the last level is our A solo group, we call Group S, and I'll talk about that a little later. Those people show up in solo all weekend long. So a key component is an in-car communicator. Cars are noisy, the windows are down. Basically, you can have a normal kind of two-way conversation. The instructor may be using hand signals that get you to look different places and so on. But a lot of the communication is someone talking in your ear, asking you questions, giving you guidance. Our instructors are trained to adapt to your needs. So we have a training program. We're actually going to be training some new instructors at our next program, starting Friday and Saturday. But many of our instructors have been doing this for years and years, decades. And it's very rare for a student to present some unique situation that we haven't dealt with before. So often drivers will be timid, and we know how to work with that and get the driver to be more confident. The other end of the scale is drivers that are overconfident. They want to drive well past their abilities, and we want to make sure they don't run out of talent. So we'll work on ways to rein them in. A very common problem is drivers are not looking ahead. If you look at this image I've got on the screen, it looks like the driver's looking through to the next corner. Often drivers just look where the car's pointed, not to where they want to go. Our instructors know how to, detect that. They pick it up very easily. If you're having trouble memorizing the track, the instructor knows the track. They know where you should brake, where you should turn, so on and so forth. And they're there to guide you until you're ready to do that on your own. A typical process is to give more guidance in the beginning and kind of scale that back and see how you do with less and less guidance, and then jump back in if you need it. If you nail a corner and then you can't nail it again, the instructor is there to help you kind of recapture that so that you can maintain that kind of consistent performance. I think that is a key element of our program, is really the quality of the on-track instructors. And now we'll talk a little bit about the classroom piece next.
Yes, you might be asking yourself, well, with all this track time I have, what am I going to be doing with the remainder of my time? And the answer is spending it in a classroom with one of our head instructors. These are people who have many, many years of experience and are really great at covering some of the materials that we think that are important for you to understand while you're at the track, right? There's a lot of learning to be done in the car, and there's just as much learning to happen outside of the car. And so when you're not on the track, you'll be spending a reasonable amount of time after each session in a classroom with another instructor going over a couple of things. And these things are procedure, technique, and general idea of like what just happened out there. They'll cover, what just happened that session, especially if there's anything specifically noteworthy. And so when we're talking about procedure, we're talking about, safety questions, safety concerns. We talk about passing, how to pass safely. What does passing look like? How do we do point buys? These are all topics that will come up throughout the day in our classroom sessions. We're talking about technique. We talk about, input controls, how to best control the car in a safe manner, how to manage specific areas of the track that may be more difficult than others. And then we also talk a lot about just general vehicle dynamics. You're basically get a really great fun physics course throughout the classroom talk as well. And then all of that also combined, we want to talk about what actually happened out there. And so you'll have an opportunity to talk a little bit about what happened in your session and, what worked and what didn't. And then, of course, we also will have some pre-event webinars, which you can watch on your own, which are things like track talks, which will walk you through the track before you even get there. So before you even arrive at the track, you'll have an idea of what exactly the track looks like, what you're going to be looking for on track, things like that. And then there's also an orientation webinar, sort of like this, a little more guided around the idea of being a D student and signed up for the event.
Yeah, so the key thing with the novice orientation, we want you to show up at the track Friday night for check-in or Saturday morning to get started with some idea of what to expect. So you're not in this, there's a lot going on. We don't want you to be in a sort of a daze trying to figure out where you're supposed to go next. So we'll do a little orientation session. Okay, so let's talk about growing with the Golden Gate chapter as a driver. So many organizations, your first time, they'll have somebody work with you for 30 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, and then you're done. Okay, go out and good luck. And with some drivers, that's enough. With a lot of drivers, in our experience, you need a lot more. And the more you know, the more you can learn new stuff. There's stuff that I can teach an advanced driver that I can't teach a novice. So as you climb that ladder, there's more opportunities to learn more information and to learn more nuance and peel the layers of the onion. We actually start, as Ryan mentioned earlier, with a car control clinic. We've got an autocross program with coaches that work with people. So there's kind of this whole ladder that you can climb. What you're looking at on the screen here is our advanced, one of our advanced driving exercises with our Group S. It looks a little bit like a racing school. This is not a racing school, but people are learning how to drive side by side through corners. You might think, why would I ever want to do that? You really want to get comfortable everywhere on the racetrack. And this kind of controlled environment where everybody is cooperating and working together, you're able to get comfortable using the entire racetrack, get comfortable with cars around you. A lot of times, if you read about or listen to webinars on high performance driving, they'll talk about 360-degree awareness. Well, how do you get that? This is one way to achieve that, by practicing it. Practice, having cars around you and being aware of them. We've been doing this for a couple of years now. And one of the things I've really noticed is in our more advanced run groups, We don't have long trains of cars where people are waiting to get past a slower car, right? Everybody is comfortable getting passes done and doing it smoothly, efficiently, and safely. So other organizations, yeah, they got advanced groups, and you may get very familiar with the back of somebody else's car, trying to find an opportunity to get around them. And we have ways to try to avoid that. And one of the ways I've described it, I've run with organizations where the drivers are very comfortable driving very hard. They're driving the car very hard, but they're not necessarily comfortable driving it well. So we try to make sure people don't get stuck in that place where you're driving hard, the tires are working hard, but you're really not driving all that well. A key element of that is our data coaching program. Data doesn't lie. You can think you're driving it. It's very common for people to feel like they're driving at the limit of the car, and you might be able to go through a corner 10 miles per hour faster with the right technique. And with data, that's so easy to see with someone who's experienced at interpreting data. So I could go on and on about this, but I'll stop there. Basically, we want you to sort of get your toe in the water and know you can continue with this program for years and years, and still have room for growth as a driver rather than sort of reaching some sort of plateau.